Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Can XRP reach $100? Here's what the math says. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so, right, I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be, not sure if they're going to want to hear this right now when we're in the depths of this market right now, which is really taking its toll on people. Where we are, I don't know. I've just said it clearly. I did another video addressing it in full. I'm not sure if we're still in a bull run or if we're in a bear market now. We'll just have to see how things play out. There's analysts on both sides, so I can't call it at this point. I don't know. But let's just get to the real possibilities of XRP, because as you guys know, I'm not a hype channel. I don't just come in here pushing XRP to $10,000, etc., etc. But I have always said to you guys, triple digits is possible, right? I've always said this. And so I saw this article and I thought, hey, this is good because this like backs up the things that I have been saying to you guys. And this is where you can see with this article what is realistic, right? So I want to go through this article and then obviously I'm just going to share my thoughts at the end. So let's go to it. Okay, so I'm going to read through part of this and then there's one other part and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. So, at today's price of $2.30, XRP's valuation is approximately $134 billion based on a circulating supply of 60 billion and over $230 billion on the full supply. For XRP to reach $100, the numbers take a dramatic jump. A $100 price equals a $6 trillion market cap, a level that would put XRP among the largest assets in global financial history. For perspective, Bitcoin sits in $2 trillion range, Nvidia and Apple hover around $4 trillion, gold commands roughly $28.2 trillion, making it the world's most valuable asset. For XRP to reach $100, it would need to claim a position between Nvidia and gold. That's an over 4,230% jump from its current valuation. Mathematically possible? Yes. Historically or economically likely? This is where analysts disagree. Critics argue that a $100 or $200 XRP price is not only improbable but also, quote, economically implausible, unquote. Okay, and then there's just one last part I'm going to go to. So can XRP realistically hit $100? Based on the math, yes, it is theoretically possible, but practicality and probability are different questions. XRP at $100 demands a valuation of $6 to $10 trillion, depending on the assumptions about supply. Accordingly, it must outperform or rival the world's largest assets. Some projections place this kind of growth decades in the future, between 10 and 20 years. Others think it will never happen. Ultimately, the reality is somewhere in the middle. XRP's future depends on whether it becomes a key part of global liquidity or just stays a large crypto without enough scale for a triple-digit price. In sum, the $100 XRP price mark is a mix of dream, theory, and long-term speculation. Okay, so let's get into this then. So, first and foremost, you guys know when I do videos about XRP, I've never said that XRP will hit triple digits. I've said that it's possible. And so you've got it here confirmed. It is possible. It absolutely is possible. Now, the thing that I will say is about this article, obviously they're talking about what XRP would need to do to hit $100 right now, right? That's the thing. Like they're saying it, obviously they're saying what the market cap is for gold, Apple, Nvidia, etc. That's the current price, targets that you would be aiming for XRP to get up to get, $100, right? This is the thing, and I've said this a lot recently. If we are going to come out of this, downer that we've got right now, this negative price action, and eventually go into a recovery and then eventually onto an alt season, I still don't think that XRP is going to hit $100 this cycle. That's for me personally. I don't think it will, not this cycle. So I agree. If we're talking about the current market evaluations for XRP to hit $100, I don't think it's going to happen. I do not think that, let's just say, for example, within the next, let's just keep it to 6 to 8 months just to keep it simple. I don't believe XRP will get to $100 within that time frame. I just don't. I think it could get to double digits, but I don't think it could get to triple digits. Not in this cycle. I just personally don't see that, right? And so this is the thing. If we're talking about the current valuations that XRP needs to hit for XRP to hit $100, yeah, I agree. I think, again, it's possible, but is it probable? That's the question. Like, just because it can happen, just because it's possible, doesn't mean it's probable. Doesn't mean it's likely to happen, right? And so, while I will acknowledge that it's possible, I don't think it's probable. I just don't think that's probable. But I do think double digits is possible. Like, that to me is a lot more likely to occur. And so, this is where I say, look, if you're thinking about triple digits, I do think you need to have a bit more of a long-term perspective. Like, I wouldn't be thinking this cycle personally. And again, this is just my perspective. So, hey, you haven't got to listen to me, but I'm just giving you my opinion. For me, I would be thinking a lot more long-term for triple digits. So I do think triple digits is possible. Whether it will happen, I really don't know. But I do believe that if it is going to happen, I don't think it's going to happen within like the next year at all. Like, I think it's going to take, a good while longer for that to happen. And so this is where, like, if we are going by that logic, I do think, like, when they're giving you these evaluations, what you've got to understand is, like, yeah, like, you're saying that XRP's got to compete with these, but if we talk about this happening in the future, like years to come, gold and stuff could have increased as well anyway, right? So Nvidia could have grown. Like I've said before, like, you got to look at these things as like a sliding scale. So as XRP's going up, Nvidia's going up, Apple's going up, gold's going up, unless these become, things that people don't want to invest in anymore. Like, it could be that people start coming out of stocks to go into crypto because they feel there's more better financial opportunity in terms of reward, right? Gold, you've got Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts outperforming gold in terms of return on investment, people could stop investing in gold because they think it's slower and they think they can get better returns in Bitcoin. And a lot of, its market cap could end up going into Bitcoin, right? So it is possible that as time goes on, a lot of these assets that have been heavily, adopted, heavily invested in, they could slowly lose adoption to other things, right? That's just the way it is. Evolve or be extinct, right? Like, if you think about, phones and TVs and stuff, like, they evolve, right? So you have one company who's the big dog out there. So, right now Apple's like dominating. But eventually there could be a phone company that comes and takes over Apple, and that becomes the new big dog in the scene, right? So, you got to think back in the day, you had BlackBerry, and then you had Nokia. These are all phones that had their time as the real big companies, and they're no longer the big companies, right? So this is what could happen with some of these stocks and these investments. But even if, let's just say, they are continuing to be successful, that doesn't mean that XRP can't grow, because XRP is its own asset. So people start to see value in XRP, and that could still continue to grow heavily as a very useful cryptocurrency. So I do definitely think it is possible. I 100% think $100 is possible, and this confirms it for you. You've got it right here. In terms of the probability, again, to me, it's in regards to what you're thinking. Like, are you thinking long term? Because if you're thinking short term, yeah, I'll be honest with you. For me, I don't think it's going to happen short term. I don't think $100 is coming, within the next year or so. But if you're thinking much more long term, then I think it's possible. You know what I mean? And I think it's more probable. Again, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. There's no guarantees in this, and you never know. Something could happen to XRP that makes it fail or something. Do you know what I mean? But if it is successful, which from what we're seeing so far, that is the case, then yeah, I see no reason as to why it's not possible to hit $100 in the long term. That is definitely possible. So I thought I'd cover this just to give people a bit more hindsight in regards to what to expect in terms of XRP's trajectory. If you notice here, we're talking about this for $100. We're not talking like $1,000. We're not talking $10,000. If you ask me, those numbers are just not going to happen flat out. That's just my opinion. People can believe what they want to believe. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. Not an issue on that. But yeah, if you talk about triple digits, I think that's very possible, and it is plausible. So we'll see how things pan out. But I hope this has helped to give you just like a realistic perspective on what you can do with XRP's potential and where it could possibly go and what could be on the horizon. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Take care.